I am Jan Schwartz, and I would like to thank my distinguished colleagues at the Global Scientific Guild for this opportunity to speak with all of you at their 5th global webinar on forensic science. Today, I'm going to delve into questions about the spectrum of narcissistic warfare that's spreading across the globe like a wildfire, and especially so when one works to thwart corruption, expose sexual abuse, and serious financial crimes or secrets. An insidious dark energy has descended, and it has spread rampantly with the intention of deceiving, creating deeply etched divisions among us while wreaking chaos in our relationships at home, at work, in churches, organizations, universities, and notably so within our democratic governments. When I experienced an especially brutal episode of narcissistic warfare, I knew that for my own healing, I would need to understand it more fully. And so I read and studied and researched, and today I want to share what I discovered. Understanding the enemy is a complex experience. Knowledge gained from personal experiences alone cannot master the force of darkness. We need to learn, and let us now learn together. What is narcissistic warfare? It's a form of psychological torture that manifests as a perpetrator's ironclad, insatiable craving for destructive power to be inflicted upon a person or entity, intending to punish or to deter actions to protect their self-interests. And there are many ways to describe it. It feels like a forced battle, your feelings of prolonged anticipatory dread. Dr. Kalt calls it death by 1,000 cuts. It actually is a psychodrama because it's a scene from the perpetrator's first family experience, and it gives them thrills that this time around they can dominate and control the outcome. For me, it was a crucifixion, but I knew that with a crucifixion, there would also be a resurrection. According to UCLA professor Dr. Ramani Durvasula, the definition of narcissism is a personality style characterized by a lack of empathy, entitlement, grandiosity, arrogance, being superficial, seeking validation and admiration, being sensitive to criticism, being controlling, and prone to jealousy. Who are the narcissists? Well, according to the authors of The Narcissistic Epidemic, narcissism is causing almost all of the things that Americans had hoped high self-esteem would prevent. In promoting a society that celebrates high self-esteem, self-expression, and loving yourself, we have unknowingly created more narcissists and a culture that draws out the narcissist in all of us. In 2018, the Washington Post published an article, "America is a Nation of Narcissists," according to 2 new studies. In the first study, 2,800 residents were asked, how much did your state contribute to our nation's history? Georgia felt they had contributed 28% of America's history, Texas 21%, and California 22%. Virginia held the top view of home state pride with a 41%. Even states who weren't part of the 13 colonies, such as Kansas and Wyoming, were also self-aggrandizing in their perception of their state's historical significance. And so a new term was created, collective narcissism. There, of course, was no correct answer, but what was learned was that people have a self-aggrandizing view when it comes to their own states. And there is a communal selective memory and definitely an inflated self-importance. So the researchers then provided some of the participants with a refresher course on American history to see would the percentages change? They didn't. Their answers remained the same. Fascinated with the results, the researchers then created a narcissism index, which compared the percentages of statewide historical significance matched with how residents of other states perceived another state's historical significance. The top results for collective narcissism are in rank order: Virginia, Delaware, New York, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. Now, in the second study, some of the same researchers broadened their outreach to 35 nations and asked them, how much has your country contributed to world history? Malaysians believed their nation contributed 49% of the world's history. Portugal, 38%. Canadians said 40%, followed by Peru, Bulgaria, and Singapore. Americans viewed themselves as contributing 29.6% of the world's history. But the top ranking goes to the Russian people, who believed their nation contributed 60.8% to the world's historical events. Who are the narcissists? According to Dervasula and Johnson, there are 6 types of narcissists. The grandiose is the individual who needs and wants everyone to notice they're the best in everything they do, and they have the best of everything that can be owned. But the covert narcissist is more difficult to detect. This is the person who's tinged with bitterness and who believes the world owes them. This stems from being very unhappy with where they are in life, and there are many reasons they believe that happened to them only, and they believe they deserve better. Another's success leaves them feeling deeply injured, and they are resentful because what that means is they think that another's success takes away their own chances for success. But then they take it one step further by quietly plotting a piercing revenge against the targeted person. They are incapable of seeing another's success as well-deserved because of their committed efforts, or maybe that person worked 80 hours a week for 2 years to get the promotion or got an advanced degree and so on. According to Kilsner, they create their own dogmatic truth no matter what the evidence, and their minds will not be changed. The communal narcissist is the do-gooder who draws their great need for attention from receiving recognition for their acts of charity or volunteerism. However, their goodness is a charade. Their favorite thing is to humbly brag about their noble efforts, yet at home, they're inclined to neglect their own family while they pursue their own goals. The malignant narcissist is the most dangerous and torturous due to their personality traits of exploitation, manipulation, and when criticized or slighted, they begin to plan a revenge for a lifetime. They are easily recognized by how much they want to hurt someone. The neglectful narcissist is that person who only calls or contacts you when they need you for something, or they need some help with something. The pattern becomes clear that it is a one-sided relationship, with the narcissist contacting individuals only when they need to use them. Finally, the self-righteous narcissist is the person who considers it their moral obligation to offer their opinions and observations with the superior air of authority, even if no one has solicited their advice. In this slide, we see signatures from 2 malignant narcissists. On the left, we see a handwritten note from a community leader, and on the right, we see the signature from once noble but soon disgraced American President Richard Nixon. According to Michelle Dresbold, who graduated from the U.S. Secret Service's Advanced Document Examination Training Program, the I is the most significant letter in the English alphabet because it signifies the self. The way we write or print the I reflects the writer's self-image. And so we see in the example on the left, the Z X's out the I. When the X appears in a signature, this indicates a self-destructive personality. The I reveals how you were raised, as well as your relationship with your mother and father and their relationship with each other too. Your I represents you and everything that helped to form you. In Richard Nixon's signature, we see a dramatic change from when he was a presidential candidate in 1968 to when he announced his resignation from the presidency on August 8th, 1974, due to the Watergate scandal. His signature became one big X of self-destruction. Well, now that we have a greater understanding of narcissists, we may come to the conclusion that narcissists are all around us. But if you've ever wondered about your own narcissistic traits or are simply curious about a test that measures narcissism, Dr. Keith Campbell provides a 13-item quick version in his book, The New Science of Narcissism. So feel free to take the test if you so choose as I read the items with you. Number 1, please choose A or B. Number 2, choose A or B. 3, A or B. 4, A or B. 5, A or B. 6, A or B. 7, A or B. 8, A or B. 9, A or B. 10, A or B. 11, A or B. 12, A or B. And finally, 13, A or B. Now, to score yourself, I will say the letter that receives 1 point. For number 1, A. 2, B. 3, A. 4, A. 5, B. 6, A. 7, A. 8, B. 9, B. 10, A. 11, B. And 12 and 13 are both A. So if your total score is 7 or higher, you tend to exhibit more narcissistic tendencies, but this does not mean that you actually have the actual diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder, just behaviors that you may choose to monitor. How is narcissistic warfare experienced? Through gaslighting. The term was derived from the title of a 1938 British stage play, Gaslight, which was adapted into the film Gaslight in the US in 1944. The word gaslighting comes from the verb gaslight, and it is used to describe the behavioral tactics intended to distort, manipulate, deceive, and control the situation or person. In other words, to get a handle on it, to get control of someone. And so this information will be very helpful for anyone involved in dealing with someone with malevolent intentions. Schaffer's list is a very accurate posting of tactics frequently used to manipulate the situation for the narcissist's gain and their carefully strategized, twisted plans to dominate, control, and win. And of course, knowledge of Burston's manipulative cycle is imperative to know when to interrupt their plans. In stage 1, goal conflict, we will experience many gaslighting tactics, and this will alert us that we need to intervene as quickly as possible to thwart their plans. Of course, stage 2, the decision to deceive, this is where we must intervene. But should we be unable to, the aggressive narcissist is filled then with contemptuous delight, which, according to Dr. Reed Malloy, restores their pride. In this slide, I've listed some examples of the gaslighting experiences that I have encountered over my 30 years of doing this work. Some in the audience may relate to the experiences. Passive-aggressive incidents occur when dealing with those who have dominant traits of covert narcissism, when the words and energy do not match, as Dr. Melissa Kalt suggests. Beware. Are you ready to study the enemy? Because you may be assured that the enemy has been studying you. Their need for attention, their inability to handle criticism or to bond, their self-absorption, their smooth way of speaking, their lack of emotional intelligence. Rather than to own their feelings, they project them onto you and make statements accusing you of what they are feeling. Now, if this happens to you and it's a personal relationship, you can stop the conversation and say, those are not my feelings, those are yours. I need you to own your own feelings. And if they accept such a discourse, that is a sign of building insight and self-awareness. It is also very hopeful if the heart of the narcissist warms enough to want to bond. But if the conversation implodes, then you have offended them, and the narcissistic injury touches too deeply, and now someone must pay. The one who injured them will be punished to balance out the injury. The forced battle is about the fact that they must win, and they will win. They cannot experience the vulnerable feelings of loss. They are often drawn to situations of harmony, and then they want to destroy it and take it away. This thrills them and reflects how powerful they are. They want to destroy what they can never be, and they want to destroy the person in their world that they envy. And so they will enlist their followers, their operatives who've been inducted or nurtured by them to pull off the agenda. And each is provided with a personal discussion and told of their importance and how they can and will benefit together if the situation only goes away. Now, if the targeted person resigns or steps out of the picture and there is fallout, they will try to enlist the envied one to return and lavish him or her with gestures of admiration and so on. But should the person return, the abuse would only begin again. However, if there is no return, what is left behind is narcissistic injury, feelings of great shame, and a depleted sense of self, all horrible feelings they want to avoid. Most who practice in this field feel that change is unlikely. However, Dr. Campbell writes that the narcissistic individuals he's talked with who want to change long for the close relationships that they see others having. These folks, though, have an unusually high self-awareness level. And when he works with them, then the energy is focused on having them map out the life that they want, and then to consider how their narcissistic personality traits are interfering with their goal. Dr. Christine Adams offers more ideas about change. She encourages self-absorbed people who want to become parents to improve themselves before they do become parents. And so she challenges them to think about how they were raised and asks them to think, were you indulged? Was I indulged? Was I allowed to have my own way a lot? Did family members give in to your demands? And do you presently expect others to continue to do this? Who are the followers that align and happily, gleefully partner with the manipulator to implement the dramatic warfare? These individuals fear confrontation, conflict, and anger. They lack self-awareness, but they have huge needs for power and they want to be important. And so the manipulator grooms them to feel very special and make them feel that they belong. And these folks do not know that they're being exploited and used for someone else's gain. They have issues with the targeted person, and they may study the person of interest, putting on a fake smile, giving a kiss on the cheek, and also walking toward the person or observing the person in a meeting with a false demeanor, just like an operative. And regarding the bystanders that may be witnessing the incidents, some observing may actually understand that what's going on is a delight in hating, but they may be too confused or afraid to do anything about it. Has there been a change in our mores regarding spreading lies and misinformation? Indeed, there has. There are two influences that are impacting our world today. The first is revealed to us in the results of a research study that involves 6 experiments with 3,600 participants. This is a very new research study. In each study, the participants were shown a list of statements that were clearly identified as false, and then some were asked to reflect on predictions about how the statements might become true in the future. The lead author says, misinformation in part persists because some persons believe it. But Beth Ann Helgeson says that is only part of the answer. Misinformation also persists because some people know it's false, yet are still willing to condone it if it might become true, especially when it concerns political views. And our capacity for imagination isn't something that can be fact-checked by an outside entity. So the conclusion from this study is that people who are deeply partisan, who feel a lie may eventually become true, may be too difficult to convince otherwise. Another force that has been in play for 2 decades comes from some evangelical Christians who are using Christianity to get a nation state to advance a revival of values where the United States may be put into alignment with God for blessing or cursing. The largest denomination, the largest Christian denomination that is in America, has been promoting this cause to their membership discreetly or perhaps directly to their membership for 20 years. Even a former US president agreed to help further their goals in return for their support. And as a result, prominent evangelical Christian leadership invested in a dangerous narcissistic leader who is bereft of character and advanced the deterioration of truth and ethics in our country. However, an outcry came from the respected Reverend Dr. Russell Moore, Chair of Theology at Christianity Today, who said this mission does not come into agreement with our ability to understand the meaning and purpose of Jesus' resurrection. Pastor Moore said, and I quote, "We do not need a Barabbas or a Caesar or a beast to fight for us. We need a lamb offered up for us. Nothing else can make us whole again. Nothing but the blood of Jesus." And so, do you have the courage and conviction to thwart their malicious goal? Do you bond well with others? Do you pledge to uphold the truth for the benefit of all? And do you understand that the narcissist moves through the world by using the talents and personality of others for their exploitation and advancement, and that they seek supply from others to avoid facing their early childhood trauma? If so, then good. Then, here are the terms of engagement for disarming a narcissist. Rejection. It's important to think about rejection in a different way. Learn to accept rejection with grace, knowing that something better is ahead. Don't take anything personally. And what I mean by this is a way of freeing yourself. After you've learned from the situation and remembered the energy so that you'll recognize it again, don't take anything personally. Find comfort in the struggle to resist. Rest your spirit by believing in your ability to endure the struggle. Don't ever let anyone write the ending to your story. Be polite. Speak in a level-headed manner, contrary to what they would expect from you. Be deliberately unpredictable and learn how to mask your strategy by being emotionally stable and mature. It's great, it's important, it's essential to study them and to assess what their needs are. How and what are they longing for? And who are they longing to be? Use direct and confident eye contact. Always trust your judgment and your intuition. And remember, do not try to reason or negotiate with someone who is proud to be a liar. When listening to people for advice or thinking about who you might reach out to for advice, go to someone who has already done what you're trying to do. Collect and document the truth, and in presenting it to the people that are going to be evaluating your situation, present the truth side by side with their version. Hold your boundaries sacred and command respect when they have been crossed. Create and search for alliances. This is key. And this is your key forward. When absorbing the joy and witnessing moral change, when it does happen, when these moments happen, be also ready for the sabotage. May we all learn to live in a perpetual state of healing. I believe in the need not only for lifelong learning, but also lifelong healing. Enhance your life by discovering heart shapes that are all around us. When discovering them, you'll be infused with joy and love and hope and encouragement. Your relationship with your animals are to be treasured, as I'm sure everyone here knows. To earn the trust of one pure animal is a joy that will last a lifetime. Remember, you will heal through humility. And always view it from a whole picture, not a piece. Continue to share your power and focus and nurture enduring relationships. If you have the opportunity to study deer, appreciate the strength when you are observing the buck. His natural position of authority is a fascinating thing to observe, and he has his own way of emoting his commitment to enduring. Listen for the flapping of the strong wings of a monarch butterfly. Last summer, I had the visit of one who seemed to personally come by and whizzed around my head and brushed past my left ear as her wings were going. And when I heard the flapping, I would never have guessed the sound would be so strong and so powerful. It is a memorable sound. And so early this summer, when I heard this sound as I was out in the garden, I looked up and wondered, where are you? And I did get to see her. And these are the pictures that you'll see on the screen. When you have moments of feeling overcome with sorrow and sadness, cry in a nature setting where you will feel and receive their offering of comfort and peace. And many times a day, actively forgive. Wherever you may courageously lead, in your family, in your community, in your state, in your nation, in the military, in a school or university, in a church, an organization, an institution, or a workplace, this blessing is for you. May the gift of leadership awaken in you as a vocation, keep you mindful of the providence that calls you to serve. As high over the mountains the eagle spreads its wings, may your perspective be larger than the view from the foothills. And when the way is flat and dull in times of gray endurance, may your imagination continue to evoke horizons. When thirst burns in times of drought, may you be blessed to find the wells. And may you have the wisdom to read time clearly and know when the seeds of change will flourish. In your heart, may there be a sanctuary for the stillness where clarity is born. May your work be infused with passion and creativity and have the wisdom to balance compassion and challenge. And I thank John O'Donohue for that blessing.